Okay, so I'm really excited to share with you today some of the creations that have been coming out of the CoCreative Incubator. I'm really excited about it for a few reasons. I think in the personal development realm of the world, and there's this kind of movement of taking our mind and wanting to impose this new reality, almost like we're guillotining off our past. And I find there's a lot of wisdom of going in some of our experiences and mining them for like their beauty and their aesthetic and their art and really discovering them and finding the nuances and celebrating that these are the different things that we've lived and are actually nourishing us and allowing us to have these leaps into the future. And this is kind of how we've been going into some of the work that we're doing in the incubator to allow us at the same time to process our past, but to discover as well all the nuances and how things are not as black and white as we imagine them to be, and to just to revel in this beauty and these experiences that we've actually had and allow them to nourish other people by sharing them and allowing them to become these cultural bouncing pieces for society's way of evolving in consciousness. For those who have been following a little bit about the incubator, you know that it's sort of designed where we take one chapter a week of the Sex Up Your Life book, and in that book there's this, every chapter has a theme, and it goes from like sort of completely non-consensual, disconnected, difficult situations, fragmenting sex, all the way up to blissfully connected sex. And we're taking these themes to allow us to nourish and explore what's actually existing in us in with these ideas. So last week we were exploring the theme of porn, and there was all these various exercises that we did. But and the other thing too is so porn, and also just the beauty of nudity and exploring our like the physicality of the joys of being naked. So I'm going to read you guys a few pieces. Some are mine, some are from the group, different participants that have taken their stories. So I'm going to just start with my piece, I'll say. Actually, no, I'm going to start with the piece on porn. And this person who wrote this, I just think she really captured this era of time in the 80s, probably late 80s, where children could go on their bicycles and be free in their neighborhoods, and there was a sense of great freedom that we had to explore and discover things. And she really captured this and also captured the impact of seeing different things that she had never seen before. So I'm going to read this to you before I give it all away in explanations and just let you come into the story with us. So back in the 70s in Toronto, life was great for us kids. We used to ride our bikes all around the neighborhood. It was a short residential block on the edge of the railway tracks and surrounded by factories and empty warehouses. Behind our house was a laneway and printing factory looking down on our backyard. We learned lots of things about life during those rides. Parents were never around, and on the street we had a mix of boys and girls ranging in age. Beside the factory was a huge parking lot. We usually played there because we could ride faster in the parking lot. There were hardly any cars there. One day, I went out to join some of the neighborhood kids in our usual outdoor play. I must have been around 9 or 10 at the time. They were very excited and giggling a lot. They took me to the parking lot. It was littered with pages and pages from magazines, strewn all over. When I looked closer, I saw that some of the images were like nothing I had ever seen before. It turns out that there were someone's collection of porn magazines that had been thrown all over the parking lot. I remember seeing some of the images, and I was struck at how absurd they seemed. There was a man dressed up like a farmer with one leg on a bale of hay and a huge cock hanging down and a pitchfork in his left hand. There was a woman dressed up as a maid bending over with no underwear. And then, of course, we found some very close-up centerfolds, which were quite fascinating. To me, they seemed strange and almost scientific, but I was utterly confused and amazed by it. What kind of magazines were these? Why would anyone want to dress up like that? What is this about? My friend, who had many foster brothers and sisters, and had seen and heard a lot more than me, informed me that Playboy was for men and Playgirl was for women. Strangely, I was relieved that there was a Playgirl for women because I was beginning to think that this was about men looking at women's private parts in a bad way. But if women did it too, then it was not so bad. As I look back at this moment, I remember the complete sense of shock and confusion that it brought on me, and then a bit of anger, but also curiosity too. What else was there out there in the world that I didn't know about? At the same time, it was a moment of learning that I could never have gotten at home, and in a way, it was a necessary part of awakening to the world. It makes me wonder, how will my son learn about pornography? I imagine it will most likely be internet porn, as he is a video game fiend, and kids don't ride around the neighborhood for hours without parents anymore. Is there something I should tell him? How can I prepare him? I guess I will let him discover in his own way. I don't think I would have wanted my parents there in the parking lot explaining, "Now, this is called pornography." So as I was talking to this participant who wrote this, I was like, this is such a great piece for like a coming of age story in a novel for even for young people, or for, just a great, could be like a TV program, a great manuscript for something. Anyways, that's piece number 1. The next piece I'm going to share with you is about the pleasures of being naked. So this comes from a piece that I wrote. Morning Glory was in the middle of the woods, a commune that collected draft dodgers, gone gray and bearded, with a bunch of teenagers to their names. Beaver's boy Egan had fallen under Raven's spell, a vivacious and charismatic young lady with a "I know better than you" look written all over her face. She knew exactly how to make her 17-year-old statements to rattle any established convention. Together they decided to become the only 2 nudists on the commune, sitting naked beside you at the picnic table, fully dressed, exposing their hardly garnished genitals and budding breasts in the throes of pubescing, while common chit-chats were being exchanged. Chris brought me there by the blade of grass and rocks, and we all decided to skinny dip after a day in the sun, drenched in sweat and dust from the farm. Let's play touch tag," Raven said with a half grin. The water against my skin was exciting, the movement delayed, the buoyancy of my body swimming away from multiple hands reaching for me. Chris came swimming towards me, catching up as he deployed his strength from years on his father's farm. I swam in the other direction. His hand reached out for my back to tag me, and enjoyed sliding down my spine just a little longer than was required. I still remember that touch, a frisky, exciting, awakening touch. And the last piece I'm going to read to you is one of our guys in our group who was sharing his first time story, first time having sex. And it was quite the ordeal, so I'm going to kind of give you an insight into that. She had rolled up to the airport with a huge vehicle. The back seats removed and a large mattress in the back with a bed made. A penis pump in case I had complications, creams and lotions, and a matching set of lingerie underneath her unsuspecting street attire. I'm not sure who was more excited about it. I just know that our expectations were only on committing ourselves to a new future, and this part, sharing our fire, was to be a huge part of our walk. Being the first lady to break my seal of virtue meant more to me than I could put into words. I've often tried, but in the years preceding this, my hormones and physical development may have skewed the importance just a little. Now at 26, I was no longer under the influence of such feverish illusions. I was ripe to be picked. I was a very sexual young man. I had gone out of my way to read articles from Cosmo, health magazines, newspapers, and I even gravitated to erotica for the how. I was the only teen in my little town to have subscriptions to Parent magazine. I also smuggled a copy of Every Woman's Guide to Sexual Fulfillment out of my cousin's house, convincing myself she wasn't going to miss it, as it was buried under the corner in the dark anyways. I could make my own baby food at age 15. I ached to be enlightened about anything and everything regarding coupling. It made it a point to watch and read Dr. Sue Johansson every chance I had. This, coupled with the fact that my body was wired for sexuality and mind, made me very receptive, though I was a loose cannon when I was younger. So much so that once when I was running to a shelter to get out of the rain, a large droplet from an overhang slipped between my neck and collar, dropped splat on my nape, and rolled down my back. This sensation, combined with my lack of control, made me jizz in my pants. Thanks to an article about the training regimen, edging, I had remedied the problem and was looking forward to physically engaging my love at proper length. There's more to it, but I'm going to stop there unless I find a little cute. Oh, maybe I'll finish this part. We did not have to use the pump, nor creams or oils, despite December being in the air. We didn't even require the heater. Just a condom had been the only assistance we required to share our fire and begin our path. Ironically, the little rest stop was the Custer rest stop. Custer, of course, being a notable enemy to my people. Odd that such a moment of safety and artistic beauty and expression should be had in a place with such a name. It was a brave and expressive first step in a large understanding, an excessively pretty tone to start with. Though our path only lasted a few months, it was one we had both used as a metric for time to come. So bravo to those people who wrote amazing, fun, interesting, era-capturing pieces. And I share these with you to invite you to come and participate as well. On the 3rd of June, I'm accepting a few more people to join us in the incubator. And then we go for 6 weeks at least. The whole process is 12 weeks, but I accept passes of 6 weeks at a time. So you can only join every 6 weeks. But anyways, it's really a fascinating journey. And the beautiful thing is, it's like you don't even realize everything that you contain until you let it come out on paper. So come and discover with us these amazing things that are lurking inside of you that are just dying to be expressed. And looking forward to having a chat with you. Bye.